George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm joined today with two great friends, Zicerol or Andrew Chope.
Howdy.
And also Mr. Jeffrey Butcher.
Hello.
I hope you guys enjoy our Kanye West album tier list.
I feel like a hotly debated topic, especially recently with all the times he's been in the news, but nonetheless, I still feel like this will be interesting to see how different we are, because I feel like we all interpret Kanye differently.
Yeah, it's exciting. Every time Kanye announces an album, people are hyped.
I never really listened to Kanye until late high school. He's so nostalgic. Like, some of his older stuff is just unbelievably nostalgic.
So up first, the freshman album, College Dropout. How do we feel?
I put it in B.
I would agree with B.
It's okay, but he made some way better stuff following that.
I would put this in A. I think personally, it's one of the greatest freshman releases in rap history.
If we are just going down the pipeline, like, don't get me wrong, compared to other rap projects, this is definitely an A, arguably an S if we really wanted to. But I think in the scale of Kanye, for me, this is a B.
Okay, I think this is in his top 5 best projects, so we'll put it in B for now. His follow-up, Late Registration.
This is in my top 5.
It's definitely in my top 5. This is my second favorite Kanye West album. I think it belongs in S tier.
This is a very strong album. I'm gonna go A for me personally. I have my top 3 reserved for my S.
But I would have to put it like before like the end of A.
So you guys are thinking A for this?
I would personally go A for this, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next, we got Graduation.
Another top 5 album.
Yeah.
I would definitely say this is a high B, possibly an A.
I personally think this is better than Late Registration. While it has aged kind of like milk compared to other electronic rap projects, it's still definitely in his top 5.
Yeah, I guess this is one thing we should touch on is his influence. I think Graduation was like the start of Kanye kind of becoming the trendsetter for the rap scene. I think there's definitely some elements of Graduation that feel the most like I guess pop forward of Kanye's sound, and I definitely think that's by design. A few short years after Graduation, what music started really climbing the pop charts, breaking out of the hip hop charts. So much more rap music, artists like Drake, and I'm sure this is something we'll get to with future albums as well, but I think that really started with this production on Graduation. I think we should put it right in the middle for now.
That's fair.
Yeah, that works with me.
Up next, we've got 808s and Heartbreak.
And I'm just gonna start saying, I am sorry for my opinion here.
No.
This is in my bottom 4.
What?
A album that really was trend-setting. I mean, this is the album that was very futuristic for him. But in the scale of Kanye, this is not a very good project in my opinion.
I have it as my second S tier.
I know.
I'll agree. Some of the tracks aren't very good by today's standards, but you wouldn't have someone like Drake if you didn't have this project. I mean, he even covered Say You Will.
I mean, essentially Drake's whole gimmick of whining on a microphone on top of an overproduced track, all of the popular, I guess you can call them rap trends of the 2010s come from 808s and Heartbreak. For me, it's in my top 5, mostly because of its influence. I'd put it at bottom of B for now.
All right, I'm okay with that.
I don't know how you have this in your bottom 4. There are definitely 4 or 5 worse projects than this, Jeff.
Yeah.
Now it's time for My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
This is my number 1 album.
Are you kidding?
I know this gets a lot of flack, but this is I love this project as a whole album. This is my favorite one.
I know this is gonna get like controversial based on the context of how we've formatted this list so far. This would be a C tier on my list. There are some anthems on here, but as an album,
I just do not think that the production holds up today, and I don't really think in the context of albums after that it really influenced that much. I can't think of any albums that try to emulate this style.
The most fascinating thing about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I guess, is where and this is something we're gonna have to talk about a lot moving forward, is kind of the headspace in which Kanye was coming at in making the project.
Nate, I'm gonna let you finish, but this is an S tier.
An element that we have to take into consideration here is the personality and the person that is Kanye. The statement being made in this is a little lost and muddled by again the kind of distorted production, the abundance of names that show up here as either features or collaborators on the project was ambitious for its time, but I agree with Chope that it kind of is just as dated, if not more so, than 808s and Heartbreak.
Wow.
I guess we're putting it in B.
Sorry, Jeff.
Chope had it in D, I had it in C, and Jeff had it as his number 1. So I guess that would average out higher than my love for College Dropout. All right, up next we got Watch the Throne.
Lower on my list simply because of the fact that I just really lost the second half of this album in my memory.
It's just not extremely memorable for either. I don't think it's anyone's favorite.
Yeah, I think Jay-Z actually outperforms Kanye on this album.
Yeah,
I would agree definitely.
yeah, it feels out of place, kind of.
If I wanted to listen to a Jay-Z album, I would listen to a Jay-Z album. I wouldn't listen to this. I would say that this is maybe a C. I think D is kind of reserved for me for the albums that I just don't think work at all. Watch the Throne, you could turn on and listen. It's forgettable, but at least it's got consistent production through. A couple great vocal performances, mostly by Jay-Z, and like 2 or 3 hits, 2 or 3 bangers. All right, was Cruel Summer before?
Cruel Summer is next.
Cruel Summer, this is a D tier for me. I literally don't give a shit about it.
I remember one song off of this. This is one of my lowest rated albums.
It's got some good bangers, but on a whole, it's not that good.
The only song you would listen to on this, maybe for nostalgia, is Mercy.
Well, no, Mercy's a banger, and then there's Click.
Yeah, I mean, Mercy's great, but if I'm going to listen to that, I'm just going to watch the music video. All right. It's Yeezus time.
This is one of my top ones. I enjoy this album. This is I will give it the fact that it can be a little too hard hitting at times, but I really respect this. This is I don't want to call it a full banger album, but I'm trying to describe the word here. It's a very pulsating album, and I really like this one.
Yeah, I think this is the top of A for me.
Wait a second. We're going to put this over My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
No. I want to hear what you have to say here.
I agree. There's some great produced songs. I think Black Skinhead is one of Kanye's best performances and also one of the best produced songs in his entire discography. And listening to this thing from cover to cover is a bit more difficult than some of his other projects. Even My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is a significantly longer album, I'd rather listen to all the way through again before listening to Yeezus all the way through again. Where would this go for you guys?
I don't agree with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy being this low. Obviously, we know that. But also, I don't feel like Yeezus should be below that by any means. I feel like it's maybe above Graduation, maybe behind it.
But I don't think neither one of us think it's better than My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So if that's the metric that we're comparing it to, it doesn't make sense for it to then be better than both.
All right.
Chope, do you think it's better than My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
Of course he does.
Of course I do. Personally, I have it above Graduation.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I guess Yeezus is going in A tier for now. Oh my goodness. All right. Life of Pablo time.
S tier.
For me, this is C tier. This is right underneath Watch the Throne for me.
This was for me. This was my intro to Kanye, like really heavily.
Yeah.
Zoomer.
And for me, coming into this album, this was my first one where I was extremely hyped. The album name had been changed like 4 times. I had Tidal to listen to this album. Everything around this had hype. And don't get me wrong, was I a little disappointed? Sure. Had this pretty damn high on my list. I have this as my number 3.
I think The Life of Pablo is one of the first albums where Kanye wasn't ahead of the curve and he was being influenced by music around him. I still think the production is fantastic. There are a ton of bangers, and overall, I puts me in a better mood than most of his other projects.
I think lyrically, this is his worst album. Stylistically, you're 100% on the mark there. This is peak Kanye, out of touch, Eminem, boomer rapper coming onto the scene after a bit of a hiatus between Yeezus and this. He took 3 years to make this project and not really much to show for it. And now I think our generation, Life of Pablo is their College Dropout. And for me, someone who's gone back and listened to his albums of yesteryear, this doesn't hold up to those at all. This is a solid C tier for me. I would put this underneath Watch the Throne.
I would be comfortable putting this under the College Dropout. I don't agree with it, but I would be comfortable with putting it there.
Above 808s and Heartbreak?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are heartbreaking me.
Its highs are better than 808's highs, I think.
And everything's in B tier. Welcome to the Kanye tier list. Up next, we got Ye.
I think there are some cool pieces. Like I thought about Killing You has a really weird, trippy beat that I just really love. There's some pieces in here that are cool, but this was a sadly disappointing album, and it is my lowest ranked album for him.
I'm the outlier in here because I have it in my A.
What the fuck?
Something about this puts me in a really good mood. It just feels, to me, it sounds kind of iconic, some of the melodies he has.
The best song on the album's written by someone else.
I still really like it. It puts me in a really good mood.
This is a solid D for me. This could be his worst. I would rather listen to Cruel Summer all the way through than this shit again. This is his most disappointing project by far.
All right, yeah. Next is Kids See Ghost.
Kids See Ghost is S tier.
I don't have it that high, but I like this album.
This is Kanye West's second best album.
What?
Most people feel that way.
No, I mean, this is an enjoyable album. There's some really beautiful songs on this, and I really love the collaboration here.
There's not a single song on this album worth skipping.
I'm sorry, I'm skipping Fourth Dimension.
What? Oh, I love Fourth Dimension. I don't like Cuddy Montage, and I think Fire. I think it's a little repetitive for me. I just don't like it as much as everyone else. I will say it's probably one of the best produced albums.
What is it? Oh, it was Cuddy. Okay, my bad. I was wrong. Cuddy's the one.
Yeah, Cuddy it feels a little out of place.
Yeah, sorry. Free and Fourth Dimension are a lot better. Okay, actually, you know what? The more I listen to this album, this is a little bit higher for me. I know. I'm sorry. I'm flipping on the spot, but this is a strong album.
I just feel like it does everything that early Kanye did right. If all the personal life drama bullshit did not happen to Kanye West, if he didn't become the superstar that he never wanted to be, this is the album he would have made next. And the fact that we actually got this gem this late into his career, sandwiched between two of his worst albums, in my opinion, is just a masterpiece. This is like the perfect redemption arc for these two rappers for me. This is seriously a work of art. I personally think untouchable in terms of the rest of the work he made after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by a landslide. The lowest I'll go for now is A, so we can just put it right above Graduation.
Okay. And lastly,
Jesus is King.
This feels to me like his most disappointing album because everyone was so hyped for Yandhi, and then this came out of nowhere and it feels unfinished.
Selah's a bop.
Selah's good. I like Selah. I like Every Hour.
I like the ideas this album has, but it just doesn't feel finished enough.
I listened to this thing cover to cover 3 times the week it dropped. I tried so hard to like this project more than anything else in his entire discography. I tried to like this. I have it in D. I can't even get it to C. I've tried.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's not as bad as Ye, but it's pretty fucking bad.
Ye has much better production, at least.
However, I completely agree with Nate here. This is a D tier. This is just barely above Ye.
He would always win the fight, bang, bang. He shot me down, bang, bang. I hit the ground.
Okay, so we are currently talking about Kanye West, and we have no S tier albums.
Which is a shame. I think he's got 2, maybe 3 S tier albums. And we all seem to think those are 2 or 3 different ones. We don't have a single shared S tier album, I don't think.
I'd arguably say Kids See Ghosts is an S tier. I could say Late Registration is. I could say Graduation is.
I could see Graduation. I'll say Kids See Ghosts. I think it should be S tier, just based on like how good the album actually is. I just personally don't like it that much.
Right now, the only thing in C tier is Watch the Throne.
I'd be okay putting 808s down there.
Whoa. Okay, I was gonna try to get Life of Pablo down there.
I
so.
don't agree with
Oh,
that.
no way.
Late Registration is one part
Jazz or soul.
got that kind of soul influence, but at the same time, it's also very simple. It's not a complicated mix. It's actually really simple, and I think that simplicity like makes it thrive over Graduation. Between the two, Jeff, Late Registration or Graduation, do you think should be moved up?
I am in a weird spot here. I have Late Registration just above Graduation. I don't know. I could make a case for either. But Late Registration just it's I feel like it's the best of his front three.
I think Yeezus is looking really weird chilling here in A with Graduation, if I'm being completely honest.
Obviously, I agree here. So
Am I allowed to debate this? This will be my big debate. I should be saving for this for the Life of Pablo, but whatever. I don't like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy that much. I think Runaway is fantastic. The opening's fantastic. Power is fantastic. I just don't see any other albums copying its influence. The production is really, at least to me, feels cheap comparatively. Like, say what you will about Yeezus, but at least it's a bit more experimental and it doesn't sound like it will date as much.
I don't know about that. To me, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy sounds like the blockbuster Kanye West album.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be. I can see its overall influence in music and say that it's good, but I just personally don't like it. It's not something I would ever put on.
I think at the very least, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy should move up, but 2 out of the 3 of us think it's better than Yeezus, so I think it needs to go right there.
As long I'd be okay if Yeezus was still an A.
I feel a little bit better now. I don't know why. This just looks more right to me. College Dropout got hurt real bad here.
it did. I don't mean to disrespect this project, but I mean it is a very middle of the road.
It's not middle of the road.
For Kanye, though, I mean he developed so much further.
College Dropout only has like a couple like iconic songs, whereas other projects have way more iconic songs
You know
to
who
it.
doesn't have more iconic songs than College Dropout? Life
Yeezus.
of Pablo.
No, you've got Father Stretch Your Hands, No More Parties in LA, the underrated Saint Pablo, Wolves maybe.
You can't forget about part 2, the stealing of a song. Nah, I mean Famous is still a cool song.
Life of Pablo is way more trendy, therefore more people are gonna probably gravitate towards it.
It's just we're young and we were alive and cognitive and streaming was around when this came out. This wasn't a project we had to go pick up at the Walmart. That's the real cultural difference here.
I would never have been able to pick any of these up growing up. So
Yeah, same. Well, 808s probably, but it's his only album with no cussing, so
We're comparing apples and oranges. I think 808s is a more ambitious project than The Life of Pablo in every capacity. And I do respect that there are more hits on The Life of Pablo, but I would rather take a creative misstep than I would something that is creatively bankrupt and childish as all hell. 808s and Heartbreaks is going over Life of Pablo. Sorry, you got bleach on your t-shirt.
don't feel too much like an asshole. The only thing I have is Yay at the very bottom. I have good music just barely above Yay.
How do you guys think we did? Does this look like your Kanye tier list?
no.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to leave your Kanye tier list or ranking down below. There's a link to the tier list that we created to make this in the description as well. Definitely check out Zicerel's YouTube channel and also Jeffrey Butcher's. I'll have theirs linked in the description as well. I'm really sorry if we did your Kanye list dirty like we did Joe.
I feel bad.
It's all right. The audience is probably going to agree with you, right?
Yeah, honestly. Chope is the dark horse.
Probably not, but you never know.